Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. I am Matt Connarton. With me, as always, the Honorable Gary S. Hopper. We need, you know what we need, Gary?
Listen, she's got a nicer card than me.
So do I. Have you ever seen my card? That's a really nice card, though. Look at all that text.
Printplace.com, they do a great job.
Wow.
And they're cheap.
I'm going to have to check them out.
Yeah, see, mine's only one-sided. Oh, you want to see my card? No, we're doing cards tonight. This is what the show's going to be about. Usually we cover politics.
Right. Every once in a while we
No,
just do a
we're
card
covering
show. Yeah.
You know, well, it's like that show, House of Cards.
Yes,
Yes,
it's
it's
exactly
very
like
good.
that.
It's
It's
a little
politics,
different.
cards, there you go.
Right.
You know, it's oh, wow, yeah, Gary,
It
that's...
looks official, but your taxpayer money paid for that, by the way. I just want
Don't
you to
you
know
feel good about that?
So her card's much better. Do you have card envy?
Yeah, a little bit, because mine's cheaper.
Hey, we need something for, because I always refer to you as the Honorable Gary S. Hopper. We need some sort of adjective for me. We don't have one for me. Can you think of something?
I just thought of a few, but I don't think I can say them on the air.
Probably not. I don't want to assign myself one, because that's weird. Well, I don't know.
Anyway, Ashley...
Maybe Ashley can think of one.
Yeah, Ashley Pratt is our guest. She is Executive Director of Cornerstone Policy Research. Cornerstone Policy Research, my first term as a legislator, I introduced legislation to eliminate no-fault divorce for couples with minor children. And the weird thing about the reason I did that, this is kind of strange, is because you wouldn't expect it to come from that angle. It's because I'm a Second Amendment nutcase. And I did...
What? I'm just smiling? Can I smile at you, Gary?
No.
Is it weird?
It is very strange.
I'm sorry.
Anyway,
Okay.
so as a Second Amendment nutcase, I was trying to figure out how come in the 70s I was able to bring my guns on the bus with me to go to school because I was on the shooting team, to the point where if my kids drew a picture of a gun in school, they would be, considered some sort of assassins and taken out of school and principal call you and everything else. And after looking into it, it seemed directly to correlate to the breakdown of the family. As the family is broken down, that limiting factor on this, particularly boys, has gone by the wayside. And I always use there's a beautiful example in Africa. They were trying to repopulate this reserve with elephants. And so what they did is they brought young bull elephants and young female elephants in because they were easier to transport into this reserve. And the young bull elephants would get to a certain age, around teenage, equivalent to teenage years, and they were killing off the white rhinos. For no reason. You wouldn't think of an elephant as being aggressive for the sake of being aggressive, but they were, full of testosterone or whatever, and they just got aggressive and thought it was amusing to chase down, attack, and kill these rhinos. The way they dealt with it is they brought in full-grown bull elephants, and the teenagers just calmed right down. Okay, and that's what we have going on in society, is that without fathers, you have teenagers that have no real limitations other than maybe getting caught by the police. Mothers can do what they can, but they're still difficult to control a young boy who's bigger than mom. And so that's a lot of what's gone on. If you look at the crime rates in the larger cities in the United States, there's a direct correlation between fatherlessness and crime. Like, for instance, back in 2000 when I first researched this, 75% of the children in Washington, D.C. were brought up in 75% were brought up in single or broken homes. So the fact that those kids aren't educatable, the fact that those kids are having crime problems and violence problems, had nothing to do with skin color or anything else or economics. It had everything to do with the breakdown of the family. And that I knew that as that family structure continues to break down, government grows, and as government grows, your liberties decline. Because it's a balance of power, and if the government has all the power, then you don't have any liberty. fundamentally, and there were also, it was a result of that the government was getting stricter and stricter gun control laws and stricter about guns. Because of that breakdown of the family, kids were becoming more and more aggressive and violent. And so that's how I got into it. I really have no compassion whatsoever because I'm Republican. But I do.
That's what they'd have you believe, right?
That's what I say, anyway. Okay, wait. Anyway, so some good news articles today. I read down stuff.
Yeah, you did.
I did. I read a bunch of. There was a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh, you wrote all. How'd you write all that upside down? Oh, I see.
I did it. Well, I write everything upside down. Then I look at it, see if it makes sense afterwards. IRS one. That's a good one. What was the one that I thought was wicked funny? Was the Keene? Did you hear what happened in Keene?
No.
Oh, this is terrific. There's a group of Robin Hood and his merry men going around.
Meter. Yeah, I saw that last night.
Yes. The lovely meter maids are getting upset in Keene because these Robin Hood group is going around and just before the meter maid or person gets into place, they'll put quarters in the machine so they can't give the guy a ticket.
Yeah, I've heard of that happening in other towns.
Yeah,
they claim that they're being harassed, and that these Robin Hood people are giving them, stress and anxiety. So I guess that's
it's actually making their jobs easier.
Yeah, you would think you have to write tickets, right?
Yeah, you don't understand. That's how they make a lot of their money is by giving tickets. So that's what the rub is, that they're losing the city of Keene's losing revenue because these darn do-gooders.
I wonder how much that adds up to, though. Because they're still getting the money from the meters. Obviously, it's not as much as for a ticket, but
well, you look at Concord. If you have to park up in Concord because you lobby for Cornerstone, they just nail you. They'll sit there and wait until your meter goes.
Yeah, I park in the garage for that reason. I learned on my first week there. I'm like, even if you're a minute late, they're waiting. So I wasn't.
They're relentless. They just. Because, if they can give you, I forget what it is, $10, $15? $15, so they get $10 instead of an extra quarter.
Huh.
Okay, so that was one that I thought was pretty comical. The other stuff wasn't that comical. This is kind of funny. Chicago gun ban is barring a museum from displaying Nazi weapons.
Really?
So oh, that is good. Take it to the extreme. This has actually really bothered me about the Benghazi thing. I know most people don't seem to doesn't seem to be making the radar too much, but one of the things
starting to.
yeah, hopefully, but that's been bothering me ever since it started.
Right. Yeah.
But the one thing that really bothered me was that Hillary Clinton went up to one of the family members at like when the caskets were coming off the plane, went up to him and said, "Don't worry, the guy who made that video, we're going to get him." Okay? So not only are they lying about the video being relevant, which is now we know that's the case, she's threatening to seek revenge for something she knows isn't true, and they got him. He's still, I just checked on it today, the guy is still in jail for the guy that made that video.
He is? What did they charge him with?
I don't remember. It was just, I think they had to get him for something.
Yeah, because...
you know what I mean? It's like, in other words, I'll use Matt, because if I say it about Ashley, she'll probably slug me. But
good TV, though.
Yeah, it would be.
Violence brings
could get interesting.
It would be awesome.
Yes.
I didn't think of it that way. Okay, so, but anyway, if they wanted to get you, they could find something you did in the last 2 years, or at least
easily
make last 10 minutes. But anyway, make it at least look like you did something.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? So I don't know what they trumped up against him, whether it was real or not. But the guy is still in jail because the administration targeted this one individual, abused their power to attack this one individual for making a stupid video. If you've ever seen it, it's really... Have you seen it?
No,
it's wicked stupid.
Yeah.
It is an amazingly stupid video.
Nothing that's going to win an Academy Award.
No, it's wicked dumb. And but they just attacked the guy because they had to come up with some excuse other than the truth. Oh yeah, and for Obama claims that he had said that was that he had said that it was a terrorist attack.
He did.
He said that yesterday or the day before.
No, there is video of him,
He
right
said
after it happened.
He in the video right after, I think it was that day or the day after, he said, "We are fighting terror." It was not directed specifically at Benghazi, but 2 weeks after the Benghazi attack, he went before the United Nations and still blamed what happened in Benghazi on a video. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's no real... He's full of crap.
Yeah, well, because that came up in the debates in 2012, and the elections feel like forever ago. But Mitt Romney had brought that up, that he had not called it a terrorist attack, and he said, in the Rose Garden, I did, and that was the shot the day after the Benghazi attack. And you're right, he did mention it was an act of terror, or that we'd combat terror, but it was never directly called... Benghazi was a terrorist attack.
Correct.
But that was the subject in the exchange, wasn't it?
No, you listen to the whole thing.
Okay.
If you get it edited version, you don't get the whole thing. But basically, that was almost like she said, it was like part of, we are fighting terror and stuff like that. He did not call it a terrorist attack. Anyway, the gun ban, I covered that. Keene, the kids from Keene. My statement to myself was, don't worry, we're safe. The guy who made that video is still behind bars. What'd you think about the IRS?
Yeah, that's not good. Well, nobody likes the IRS to begin with, but this is this and the what was the other thing that's really creepy? Oh, the
AP.
Yeah, with the phone records of reporters and all that.
Phone records, Facebook things, phone conversations, text messages of all the reporters at the AP.
Yeah.
And they say, quote unquote, that it was they're researching into a security leak, which means they're trying to squelch the AP for some reason. Which is
well, I don't know if it's probably something more complicated, but
yeah, sure.
But this is what I say though when I hear conspiracy theorists go on about whatever they're going on about. I always say, well, you know what, government's not good at hiding stuff. It really isn't. They can't, they can't keep what the IRS does a secret. They can't do what.
That's not really true, because the IRS thing has been going on for 2 years. People have been crying about it, saying they're picking on me, they're picking on me. Nobody would listen, and it's only in the last week that...
yeah, but I'm just saying everything eventually comes out. It may take a while.
Yeah, it came out after the election.
Right.
So in other words, these groups that were trying to affect the election with their create a group to affect the election were prevented from ever creating that group. Sure. So the IRS attacked these groups and probably affected the outcome of that election.
Well, I'm not justifying what anyone did. I'm just saying everything comes out eventually, that's all.
And
you can't hide this stuff forever.
Not forever, but if you hide it long enough till after the election, you're good.
Oh, yeah.
Because it doesn't matter at that point.
Right. Oh, I agree with that.
So I don't like you anymore. What I post on Facebook, somebody said that thing about the IRS, and it's because the IRS is also going to be involved in Obamacare, right? So
yeah, and the Marketplace
Fairness
Act, if that passes. That nightmare.
I can't imagine how what the IRS is going to do to my Medicare if you're a member Tea Party. Wow, you might as well forget about that heart transplant.
Well, although if you're a member of the Tea Party, you probably don't think you should have Medicare.
Well, if I'm a member of the Tea Party, I probably don't have a heart anyway.
Oh, there you go.
Right? Right?
That's true.
Okay, now something more depressing. Oh yeah, what's the doctor's name that got convicted?
Kermit Gosnell.
You would think with a name like Kermit, he'd be like a nice guy.
You would think so, and then he would talk funny.
Yeah, the reporters that were in there were saying that his facial expressions when they read off the 3 first-degree murder charges, he was stunned, very upset. I don't know how you could think that actually taking a human life, a child, and sticking scissors through its neck is in no way, shape, or form murder, but apparently we don't see it that way. But I'm glad that the jury did, and he ended up with, I think it was 3 life sentences.
Oh yeah, he's never gotten out.
Yeah,
No.
but not the death penalty. So.
But it was just amazing. That was such a horrible thing. I was, you know how well sex education has worked in the schools, right? Did you know that 50% of pregnancies are still unintended?
Nationwide?
I'm not surprised.
Nationwide. I am. Theoretically, the more you educate people that, if you do this could be the result.
I do know that in Texas, Rick Perry is very proud of their abstinence-only education, and in Texas they have the highest teen pregnancy in the country.
Well, that's just because the girls are a lot prettier there.
Well, it is Texas.
Right, it is Texas. Sorry.
Yeah.
She's gonna end up hitting me anyway.
That's good TV.
That is. I know. You're right.
Do you think you could take her?
No. Here's another statistic you'll love. Violent. I was looking at the what is it? blackgenocide.org or .com. I forget what it is.
Sounds like an org.
Yeah, it sounds like an org. So they get a chart. I put it up on my Facebook. The number of blacks killed since 1973. Violent crime, 306,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a lot lower than I presumed. Heart disease, 2.266 million.
Yeah.
Black children aborted, 13 million.
Wow.
Yeah, was it last year, the year before,
amazing.
that there was more black children aborted in New York than born?
I've heard different states reporting things like that, but
she's smart enough not to agree with me.
I'm not agreeing or disagreeing.
Well,
I've heard reports on that. Obviously, abortion nationwide is a huge issue, and it's always going to be a divisive one, I think, because it's obviously one that comes down to how people feel about their morals and beliefs, and that's where I think politics has a hard time intersecting.
Yeah.
Once you dig down to a personal level, and especially with the war on women, so-called, in 2012, now it's a hot button issue.
Why does that have to be a war on women?
I'm not actually sure that there was one, but that's what the media created.
Like a football game against women instead. Something a little bit less.
Football?
Tag.
There you go.
Tag on women.
Not to be sexist, but
Well, I don't know.
tennis?
Tennis.
A lot of women play tennis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
tennis.
that sounds better. Yeah, I thought that was funny. The war on women. It was ridiculous. I think that's all from my notes. I want to make sure I touch those. I love the Keene one though. I think that's my favorite news article today. But anyway, Ashley.
Yes.
So, what got you involved? Now, Cornerstone. How long have they been around?
I believe since 2000, but
Really?
I've been there since January of this year.
Right, but
Yeah, I know they were in their 10th year, I believe, in 2010. So
Oh, no kidding.
since 2000,
I didn't realize
2000, 2001.
I didn't realize I was there at the ground floor. Really?
You've been at the ground floor of a lot of things. You're like a trendsetter or something.
I am.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Hey, take the credit where you can.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, wait. Before we get into Ashley, I wanted to do this. I told this about the lady at the Kelly Ayotte thing with the sign.
Yep.
Okay, Brad, can we have the picture first? Brendan, whatever. Okay, so this is the sign she's holding up, right?
Yes.
Okay. What does it say? I
I
can't
will
see.
not forget the victims or your vote.
Okay. Now this is, as you know, I am like a professional videographer.
Of course,
Right.
of one of your many talents. I think you got on the ground floor on that. If I remember correctly.
I did.
Videography, yes.
I was doing video before there was video.
Yes.
Okay? Before there was talkies, I was doing videos, if you know what I'm saying, right? Okay, this is how professional I am. I have a video of me interviewing that woman, Brendan.
I forget what happened, you know, in
Right.
town.
How would a passing in the background check law change that?
It's just a generalized...
No. I mean, if they pass a law, say they passed it 2 years ago, would that have effectively changed anything in Newtown, which I presume you're talking about?
I'm talking about strengthening the community.
Okay. Thank you. Is that the best video ever?
That was amazing, Gary. It's like
Right?
you went to film school and stuff.
I know.
Her hair looked great.
I know, it was like perfectly cut and everything else.
Yes.
You don't get that on most videos. You don't get that kind of detail. Really.
Most videos you see split ends. If anything.
Exactly.
But her hair was
But
great.
yeah, that was. But no, I got bad eyes. Right, I was looking at the little screen on my camera.
Yeah.
I couldn't see it. The sun was hitting and blocking it out. I thought I had it on her face, but
Oh, the audio came out well, though, and that was the most important part, really.
yeah, and it was funny that she's holding a sign against Kelly Ayotte and has no clue what she's talking about.
Right.
Pretty ridiculous. Anyway, I wish I didn't want to forget about that. So you started. You were how did you get involved in politics to begin with? Because I know you went to St.
Yeah.
A's, but there's got to be something that motivated you somewhere to start getting involved in politics.
I've been born and raised in Manchester my entire life, and I just started at a young age volunteering here in the city. New Horizons, did different volunteer projects, volunteered at the food bank, like a bunch of different things.
What's New Horizons again?
That's the food bank that Charlie Sherman runs, right?
Yeah, and the soup kitchens. So anyways, I got very involved with that, and then I continued to, and I've been to all the Manchester Catholic schools, and still continue to get involved.
You've been all the Catholic schools. You get kicked out of one, and you have to go to the other one.
No.
That's what it sounds like.
Elementary school.
Yeah,
Elementary school. I went to Westside Catholic, now St. Benedict, and then St. Joe's for middle school, and then Trinity for high school, and then St. A's for college. I was very fortunate. I got a full scholarship there, so made my decision pretty easy.
Yeah,
and I wanted to study politics. But how I got into politics, I joined the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council. I don't know if you've heard of it here in Manchester. It started probably like 10 years ago now.
Okay.
And
so who was mayor then?
It was actually when I had first come on board, Mayor Baines was actually mayor, and it was right during the whole time when Frank Ginta was running.
Okay, when was my, now I'm going to forget his name. The mayor, forget it, never mind. I was going to screw up. That was one of my friends helped me when I was running for state rep in Goffstown.
Oh. Yeah, so Mayor Baines was in office when I had come on board, and then if Frank Ginta had won the election for mayor, so then he took over and he decided to keep the program. So we did that, got very involved in the political system. I actually didn't know what side of the aisle I really affiliated with. And by the end of my high school years, I had realized that I kind of aligned more with conservative and Republican values. And after that, I got to know Mayor Ginta pretty well and his family. And then he had decided to run for Congress when I stuck around, and I was here for college at St. A's. So then I got involved with his campaign for Congress, and that's when I really started getting very involved with politics. But I was always involved in student government and class and different community activities. And now I'm still here in New Hampshire and now running Cornerstone, and I'm having a blast. I've never actually spent too much time up in Concord with our own state legislature, but I'm loving it. And it's very interesting having the 400 representatives and the 24 senators. It's a very different dynamic. So
yeah, it is pretty. Regardless of Democrat, Republican, it is actually pretty amazing that you can get 428 people to work for $100 a year.
Yeah.
Well, and it's the third largest legislative body in the world,
yeah,
right?
And that's so cool.
Yeah.
I thought the $100 a year is cool enough. The other thing,
and tolls. Right?
Oh, you get tolls?
And tolls.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, dude.
It's actually funny because I go up my motorcycle. Usually, I don't have one of the. Cause you can get one of the transponders, but I don't have one.
Yeah.
I go up my motorcycle, and so I show them my legislative because usually if I go up my truck, my license plate's on the front, So they just see that and wave me through.
Yeah.
But on my motorcycle, there's no license plate on the front. So I go up and I show them my legislative ID. And a lot of times the lady goes, well, we don't take credit cards.
Really?
Yeah, they have to look at it. But,
Yeah.
but anyway. So, yeah, I don't you find it the least bit disturbing that somebody working for $100 a year is actually in charge of the budget of the state?
There are times where I question what goes on up at the State House, only because, you know, people like yourself, when you're saying that you were working a full-time job and you were state legislator, like, that is to be commended, because I see some of what goes on and I'm wondering if they're actually reading through the legislation before they vote on it.
No.
Because I will meet with some representatives and I'll talk to them about a bill and they're like, oh yeah, let me read that. And I'm like, well, can I tell you kind of what's in it? And without any bias, you know, kind of just have a discussion with you to see where you kind of, you know, fit on the map. And they're like, oh yeah, I haven't read that yet, or oh, I need to read that. And with this casino bill that's coming up, today, actually, it was voted ITL out of the super committee, 23 to 22. So it was very
really?
close.
Oh,
I was there all day.
What does that mean, ITL?
Inexpedient to legislate.
Okay.
So that's the recommendation out of this super committee that was formed, which is House Ways and Means and Finance. And now the full House will be voting on it on Wednesday. So there were 18 amendments proposed this morning, and instead of coming back from lunch and discussing the amendments and make a motion to discuss them, there was a motion to ITL the bill right off the bat. So after about an hour and a half of discussion, they had a vote to ITL, and it passed 23 to 22. So it was a one-vote decision. So it was interesting because I don't think anyone on either side of the aisle on gambling can say it was a clear victory.
Right.
Obviously, with 400 reps, it's going to be a lot of groundwork and a lot of ground game between now and next Wednesday when the vote happens. But it is definitely interesting because there's going to be a lot of reading required with that, with all the proposed amendments and what's being suggested to make that bill
I ain't reading nothing.
into what it is.
Can't make me.
and see, that's one of those things where it's like there's 400 people that are deciding the fate of bringing a casino here to the state or our budget, and it concerns me sometimes whether or not things are being read.
Okay, wait.
And
Because I have to defend. I get to defend myself, right?
You certainly do.
You can, in theory.
In theory. Not necessarily effectively, but I can try.
You can take a shot at it.
Right.
Yeah. You're a pro-Second Amendment guy. You should be allowed to defend yourself.
Exactly, right?
See?
Okay.
Freedom of speech.
Right. So, the fact I might peruse the bill. Most likely I'll read the blurb on the bill, but I won't read the bill. I'll tell you why. Is because, A, the casino bill as it's proposed is unconstitutional.
Correct.
Okay? You can't, Article 10 of the New Hampshire Constitution says you cannot use government for the benefit of any one group or, and it uses other words.
Fancy words, too,
Fancy
from what I remember.
words, too, right? It was fancy?
Very fancy. It's
was
a very
fancy.
flowery document.
It is,
the way it's
it
written,
is,
yes.
it is.
Shakespeare would be proud of it.
I think so.
Yes.
So, government can't be used to benefit any one group. Under the casino gambling bill, the only people that would get there would be one casino. I'm sure there's amendments to add two.
There was one add six today
okay.
by
Still.
Rep. Steve Valancourt.
Right, of course.
Just his name always makes me laugh.
Yeah. And 6 still doesn't matter, because whether it's 1 or 6, you're still using the power of government to benefit, in this case, 6 different entities or investment firms. Unless Matt Connarton, who is of reasonable means, can go out and start his own casino or get a license, an inexpensive license to do so, it is not constitutional. Okay? So that's 1. 2, casinos, all they do is act like a vacuum and suck up all the disposable income in a given area and destroy the area. I mean, yes, there would be some jobs. Oh, by the way, the union said, I was talking to one of the union people, and they were saying how I was going to get all these jobs. And I nailed them down on it, and it turns out that the jobs won't be necessarily from New Hampshire. Okay, they're going to be all over the place, because some of the union guys are going to be from Massachusetts, because it's going to be union, which that bothers me. I mean, as you know, I didn't vote against. I voted against right to work, but by the same token, I think any company who has a reasonable reputation should be able to bid on those jobs, and not just union jobs.
Right.
But anyway. Casinos just suck up all the disposable income in a given area. Instead of Matt Connarton going down to get some plumbing supplies and fix his sink, that disposable income's going to a roulette table on his way home from work Friday night. So it looks good on paper at first because you get these jobs and you got this money generated initially. But what you end up doing is there's only a finite amount of disposable income in any given area. Period. And you're just taking a bunch of that. That's all.
Well, also, too, not all casinos are necessarily successful.
No.
And we've seen more reports of bankruptcy in other states, who are neighbors to us. And that is concerning because if we do move forward with this, and there is one high-end casino here, let's say in New Hampshire, and Massachusetts moves ahead with their plans to put in 3 or 4, you can't tell me that that's sustainable here in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
It might be until Massachusetts gets all of theirs, and then where are people going to go? I mean, we're not known for this. And we bring in one high-end casino, then all of a sudden we're the gambling escape in New England? I don't think so. I don't think that's what we'd be known for. So I think the sustainability of it is definitely a question that a lot of people should be asking themselves. While it's a good temporary Band-Aid for our budget, is it really what the state needs or what it can sustain further down the road? Yeah. I mean, they're saying like 3,000 jobs it would bring, which seems pretty, minimal, and that's also including the construction jobs beforehand. So something seems up there because those would be temporary. I mean, you're not going to be building it for the next 20 years. You'd be building it for maybe a year and a half, 2 years.
They did say union.
Yeah, that's true.
Could be like the big dig.
But in regards to reading the bills, I mean, I certainly commend the legislature because for what you guys get paid, I don't think that I would want to do it. And you actually do. The committee on this casino bill, they were absolutely incredible. They had hearings pretty much every day, and you knew they were giving up a lot of their time to do that. They brought in panelists and different experts, and I was very impressed with what I saw. But there are times where in the bills, if they aren't read, there was this resolution back in February, H.R. 6, which was a resolution to commemorate the 40th anniversary of Roe v. Wade here in New Hampshire. Further along into the resolution, and a lot of people hadn't read it, it had stated that there was a paragraph that said the 2012 elections spoke for every New Hampshire resident.
Really?
I don't know how that wasn't caught prior to the hearing. Prior to the hearing.
Yeah.
And, I mean, everyone on the surface, okay, they see a resolution to commemorate Roe v. Wade. So either you're Republican, Democrat, pro-abortion, pro-choice. That's how people saw it, the reps. So when I went up for hearing to give testimony, I had said, this isn't a dig at anybody. I just want to point out some of the flaws here, and this is why this is bad legislation. Whether or not you agree with me is fine, but if you honestly think that every constituent in your district think that the 2012 election spoke for them, then I would, consider why this legislation might not be that great. And they didn't know it existed. So then it was finally struck out, but the bill died in the House 239 to 111, which was a huge win for us. But it's things like that where there's sometimes things that are thrown into it, and if you don't catch it, I mean, that could have been a huge game changer for the 2014 elections to say, well, this bill passed the House, and look what it said. That's great fodder.
Oh, yeah, it would have been, yeah. That's all it would have been, too, is just cannon fodder for the next election.
Yeah.
But, we had Cynthia Chase. I think she's from Keene. There was a a few of my Republican friends had a picture of her playing solitaire.
I saw that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I attacked them. I says that's ridiculous. Yes, she's playing solitaire, but odds are, I forget what bill it was that we were voting on, but it was one of those partisan bills.
Yeah, and it was a long day. I remember when that was posted.
Yeah, it was a long day, and it was she was sitting there during the deliberation of something that people were going on for 10 or 20. It was like an hour or something debate over something. Everybody knew what they were going to vote before anybody said anything.
Yeah.
And she's playing solitaire. And I posted, I says that's ridiculous. I was downstairs having coffee. I knew how I was going to vote on this. I think it was a tax increase, right?
Or sometimes you're reading Shotgun News.
Oh, that was last term.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I defended her. I says, at least she's in the room.
Right.
Look in front of her. There's nobody there.
There's always a lot of empty seats.
Well, of course there is.
Are there really? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like the gambling bill. Okay. I know exactly how I'm voting that. I don't have to read the bill because I don't believe in the gambling.
Yeah.
In particular, I don't believe it because in this case specifically, it's unconstitutional. But I'm morally adverse to it also.
Yeah.
So when that gambling, as soon as that debate starts, I'm exit stage right.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a long debate on Wednesday.
Wicked.
It will be a long one.
And it's not going to change anybody. Maybe there'll be like 5 or 10 people that are still debating it in their head by the time they get to the legislature, to the debate. But I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
So
I guess we'll see what happens with that.
Oh yeah, last year. This is awesome. We were debating it was a constitutional amendment for constitutional amendment for school funding. It was last term, and it was something that Leadership O'Brien was pushing, and I stayed in the room for this one because it was one of the few times I was not positive how I was going to vote, because there was a few of the people that were voting for it and speaking for it that I had a lot of respect for. I had read the bill, and I thought I didn't like it. I didn't like the wording of it. I thought it etched into stone the decision of the state Supreme Court that was erroneous to begin with. And I've heard my Paul Ingridson. Yeah, he was up there speaking in favor of it because he kind of had to.
Right.
And you could tell it was if you listen to his speech carefully, because I was listening carefully, it was, I'm going to jump off this cliff. Please don't join me. But he said it in a nice way, so it sounded like he was speaking in favor of it, but you could tell he really wasn't in favor of it.
Yeah.
Which was, But anyway, while he's speaking and while this debate's going on, because I really wanted to listen to it, instead of leaving the room, which is what I usually do, I'm reading Shotgun News. And when I say reading, I'm just looking at pictures. I'm looking at pictures of rifles and shotguns.
Well, the particular picture
I had was a pretty girl with a in a bikini with a shotgun, but it was one of these full-page ones.
Yeah.
So Channel 9, they interview O'Brien, they interview the governor, and then they interview the majority leader and I think the minority leader, and then they said, and then some people weren't even paying attention. And they come and they get this shot of me sitting there reading Shotgun News.
Oh, goodness.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Well, I live in Ware, so that probably got me 30, 40 votes,
at least.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
How many people live in Ware? Aren't there only 30 or 40?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where?
So, yeah, exactly, right? So, but anyway, yeah, so, yes, a lot of us don't read all the bills because, first of all, I know there's a couple legislators who say they have. But that's like insane.
There's so much to read.
So you have to, some of the bills you have to understand where you stand. Like if it's an anti-Second Amendment bill, all I have to do is read the the blurb in the calendar. So I'm not voting for that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because what they do in the New Hampshire House, which people probably don't know, is they'll have a bill, it'll go to the committee, and then the committee, whoever makes the motion to pass a bill has to write a blurb, and the requirement of that blurb or that paragraph is to explain what the bill does and why the committee's supporting it.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the minority report, too, right?
Yeah, I get a minority report in next week. I say anyway, and then there's in this next week. What did I do? What was I voting against last week? Oh, it was.
I remember you talking about something, but I don't remember now what it was.
On the Judiciary Committee, we had a bill.
Oh, about the lawsuits.
Yeah, somebody does frivolous lawsuits in a row. A judge can determine that they're a vexatious litigant and require them to either have a lawyer to represent them for the next case, and or have a bond or something so that they're have some backup financially, so that if they perform another one of these the same type of thing, the person that's the victim of it can have some recourse to get their money back. Sounds legitimate until you read the Constitution that says, I think it was 14th Amendment?
Yeah, I think so.
14th Amendment says that everybody has a right to free and equal access to the courts. Well, it's not free if they have to get a bond or a lawyer. Mm-hmm. So my argument is, yeah, this is a really good bill, but if you're going to take away people's liberties, you should have due process. They should go to court and be convicted, and then you can take away their liberties, just like if you put somebody in prison. But it shouldn't be done by a judge because he thinks it's a good idea. It shouldn't.
Right.
But anyway, so on my blurb, I had something I said at the end. I said that, after conviction, then you can have them drawn and quartered. So I handed that to the chairwoman, Marjorie Smith, and she just kind of looks at me. She reads it, and she kind of shakes her head and crosses it out.
I bet she wasn't that surprised, though. She's probably used to dealing with you.
No, the guy sitting next to me, who's was on my side on that one, he looks and says, "You have a copy for a different copy for the chairwoman, right?" I said, no, that would be that's not fun.
Oh, man.
But so anyway, the blurbs are required basically to give you an idea of what the legislation is, and then if you're still in kind of question or in limbo, then you go and read the bill, actually what the bill is.
Yeah.
But I don't read all the bills on the calendar.
Plus, it's difficult because, you look at like the, United States Senate or United States Congress, and I mean, we would like to believe that our elected officials are reading through these hundreds of pages of bills, but that's why they have staff members. I mean, you guys don't. You're just a one-person show, and so when you have, bills to read before a committee hearing, or if you have bills to read before a vote, it's too much. Like, there are times, like with this casino bill, it's going to be a ton of reading. And you know that more than likely it won't happen, but that's the downside to having, 400 reps, is that they have no staff. The Senate does, but the House doesn't, so they're on their own. And they're getting inundated with emails, too, from constituents saying, hey, don't vote on this, vote no on this, vote yes on this. So at all times, I mean, it's New Hampshire politics, I guess, but it is a little bit frustrating because it would be nice, to have a smaller legislature so that way they could have the resources they need in order to, be able to actually read the legislation and do, what they might, want to.
Right.
But you know what would happen? Because if we had a smaller legislature, people like me would never get in.
Mm-hmm. And that's why you have to love New Hampshire
it's probably
politics.
A good thing, actually, for the state.
Oh, not for you, though.
No, not for
me. You gotta consider your own needs, Gary, too,
And it's important to have representative government, I think. And, New Hampshire's tradition of doing that, that's one thing I love about this state. And I wouldn't change it. You see other states that have the smaller, House of Representatives are like, how do you guys do it? And it's like, they actually do a pretty good job considering the amount of work that they have before them, and they don't have staff. And that shocks everyone. Like, when I go to a conference or something, they're like, oh, so this didn't pass, blah, blah. I was like, oh, yeah, it was a vote 239 to 111. They're like, wait, are you talking like United States House of Representatives? I'm like, no, New Hampshire. Like, how many people? I'm like, yeah, we have 400 reps, 24 senators, and they're always stunned. They're like, do they have staff? No. Do they have offices? No. They have a ledge.nh.us or whatever email. I'm like, but that's about it. And they get business cards. I'm like, other than that.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
They don't do those for you?
No. This one, because I was in leadership. I was chairman of Fish and Game.
Oh.
So I got free. That's why I keep these on. Because those are free.
So
okay?
you guys have to pay for those?
Oh, yeah.
That's not right.
License plates?
Yeah.
We have to pay for those. So we get our $200. They take taxes out, and then we have to pay $10, I think, for every set of license plates.
No kidding.
Then we have to buy our business cards, and
wow.
Yeah. See,
I'm in it for the money.
You get lasagna and stuff
Aren't most?
sometimes from lobbies.
Right.
Yeah, the free lunches.
Yeah.
I got to do this. I got to do this one of these days. Maybe you can help me out one of these times when we're not busy. I want to take a picture of myself out in front of the legislature with a kind of a forlorn look and a cardboard thing that says, "We'll vote for food."
Yeah. It's true, though. And most people, you've seen, at least with this gambling bill, lunches from both sides, and you'll see people going into them, and I'm like, wait, you're not voting this way. Yeah, it's free lunch.
Right.
All right.
What did you tell me? Who was the quote? Was it
Tip O'Neill.
Tip O'Neill. What did he say?
Tip O'Neill said that if you can't take money from somebody and turn around the next day and vote against them, you don't belong in politics. So I've refined that for New Hampshire and said, if you can't take somebody's free lunch and go back to the House floor and vote against them, you don't belong in New Hampshire politics. Because I did that last week. I got the casino people had a nice free lunch at the Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty good.
With the Pennsylvania presentation?
Oh, whatever. I don't know who they were. I didn't care.
Free
Didn't
lunch.
matter what they said.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, your taste buds don't care
Some
what
guy
they say.
from Pennsylvania got out there. I have no skin in this game. I said, what are you doing up here?
Right.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Yeah, sure. You just spent your whole week up here for nothing. I believe that. But
Well, it is scenic here.
it is scenic.
Maybe,
Yeah, he just likes the scenery.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was nothing he didn't
Like
gain
the
any.
scenery without the casino?
I don't know. But so how do you like what now? We haven't actually this year had that many really profoundly controversial bills. Like I volunteered for judiciary in great part due to the fact that I know that's where a lot of that stuff gets funneled through.
Yeah, I think we'll have a lot more next cycle. I think this one was obviously high budget, priority focused, and you saw that with the gas tax and different things like that.
I heard they were adding another tax too. I just saw that on Facebook earlier, but I forgot to write it down.
Which one?
I don't know. I was hoping you knew.
I mean, there was a cigarette, the gas tax. I know that they also increased the cost of heating oil, but there's a bunch of...
The heating oil was kind of a red herring. There was
Yeah.
only, if you really looked at the numbers, it's really marginal.
Yeah,
It wasn't a huge amount. It was still heating oil, so it's. I'm sure we'll use that as one of our bullet points.
Right.
Regardless of what the
obviously.
actual number is.
It was an increase. But yeah, it seriously has been a pretty calm cycle.
I think they just added in something to do with the rooms and meals tax or something.
Oh, possibly.
I think.
I don't know. I haven't seen that. I'll have
Okay.
to look at that. But yeah, it's certainly been an interesting experience because a lot of it, obviously, for us has been more defense than offense, and I think next cycle it's going to continue to be more defense. But
You mean next year?
yeah, next year.
Right.
Because
Because we're going to have the what do you call it, elections, the midterm elections, could switch back to Republican control.
It could.
You just don't know about these things.
Or do you?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a clue.
I don't know if maybe you're making an official prediction.
No.
Just kind of spitballing?
No, yeah, spitballing.
Yeah, I understand.
So you like it up there anyway?
Yeah, I'm enjoying myself. I had spent quite a bit of my time focusing on federal legislation, so it's been nice to kind of stay here in New Hampshire and learn more about what's going on here in our own backyard. And there's a lot happening, and it's
it is
important,
amazing,
I think, for people to know.
Yeah, it's to me. I think one of the I'm gonna do a Facebook poster. I like doing Facebook posters. My best one was a woman from, and I'm going to think Tennessee. She actually prevented a school shooting.
Wow.
She was a resource officer. I don't even think she was armed, but she stopped this guy. I got almost 50,000 shares on that one. That was my best one ever. The other ones didn't even come close. I think 300 or 400 shares. But I want to do one with, and this is kind of a general outline, that the perfect government, Democrats should control the local government, Republicans should control the state government, and Libertarians should control the federal government. Because it's like we've gotten so far away from, like, charity should be local.
Yeah.
If charity was local, you would have very little abuse, because Matt would see some guy going down and buying a case of beer, and he knows that the guy's on welfare. And it's like, dude, why are you taking my tax money and buying beer with it?
And I would speak sternly to him about it.
Yes, and say, well, at least give me one, you jerk.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Whereas
I might even slap him.
Yeah, exactly.
Good hard, open hand slap.
Exactly. Slap? You really slap a guy?
Yeah, I would, Gary.
You punch, Matt.
No, I'd slap him.
No,
I'd slap him. How humiliating for him to have to go home and tell his wife that he was slapped by another man. Yeah. How humiliating. That's exactly what I would do.
No, I don't
You're not talking me out of it.
Okay. Anyway, and state government should be run, it says it in the Constitution, frugally and conservatively. If you look at the state constitution, that's what we're supposed to be doing, is controlling spending. Federal government is supposed to be very limited and only, but it's gotten so far out of hand that we're completely upside down with the federal government's controlling everything, including welfare. Your accomplice, Marianne Banfeld, was on, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
I think so. It was
Anne-Marie
Banfeld.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago?
Was it 2 weeks ago? Yes, it was.
Talking about Common Core.
Yeah.
They're controlling schools, welfare. The federal government's controlling everything, and they're not capable of doing it. Mm-hmm. I mean, if they can't even control the IRS, how are they going to control,
Yeah, the standards that they've had in place with Common Core, it's just not achievable, nor is it good for our students. And Anne-Marie's been awesome with us doing that, and she actually was on the Gerard at Large show this morning, too, talking about it. So he kind of gave her an outlet, too, and let her speak on it. But it's really getting messy. But now that there's been more attention on it, you see a lot more people coming out and saying, I don't support that. And it's interesting because, most people be like, oh, yeah, I don't care. It sounds good. Oh, yeah, everyone universal, same thing. No, it's not good policy at all. But I guess we'll see what happens. Most of this stuff, that's what it is. You sit around and hope that, things go for the best, but it takes a lot of work behind the scenes.
It is. It's a huge amount of work. It's a huge amount of work that goes... But anyway, to me, that's the way it should be. There should be very limited federal government. There's very limited reasons for the federal government. But it's just gotten so insane. I mean, you've got a president of the United States that every time something happens, he claims he just heard about it on the news the other day.
Yeah.
He heard about the IRS investigating Tea Party members. He says, well, I just heard about that same time you guys did. Then when he, was it last year with the Fast and Furious?
Oh, yeah.
He was asked about that. I said, well, geez, I just heard about that on the news like you guys did. This guy knows nothing.
I saw an interesting, I think it was a Facebook or Twitter post the other day. Someone had said, it's interesting how much power these low-level employees have.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, because it seems as though the administration has been saying, oh, well, someone in the lower levels at the IRS, it happened in a Cincinnati office. Which
isn't true. That isn't even...
No, it wasn't.
That isn't even true anyway.
It's like they're getting directive from somewhere,
Yeah.
and then the Department of Justice, that is directly underneath, the White House and all of this stuff, and it's like someone somewhere high up gave this permission. So if you can't control your top-level officials, and you're going to blame it on low-level officials, they're given a lot of power.
Apparently.
Clearly.
Apparently.
That's what I do in my job. If something goes wrong, I blame a part-timer.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, the lower down the rung, the better, so you can actually just fire them for something you did.
No, I don't want to fire anybody.
Cincinnati
I just don't want to get in trouble.
Hey, we gotta go.
We gotta go.
Anyway, thank you very much, young lady,
for having
coming.
me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for all the stuff Cornerstone has done. It's been really helpful. Later on, we got to sit down and talk about my marriage legislation. I don't know if you guys want to get involved in that again, but it's a tough fight.
Yeah.
The one thing, the thing that I've learned up there is the people that are persistent are the ones who win. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be right; you have to be persistent. And I'm not right. You just ask anybody. I am not right in the head. Right?
Well, you're right. You're just not right.
Right.
Right. Glad we had this talk.
Right.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.
We'll see you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.